Good morning, and well, it's morning over here. And welcome back to my channel. I hope you can hear me well because my partner is asleep. So I'm doing this during breakfast. So this is what do a shaman eat for breakfast? No, it's not. It's today I'm gonna talk a little bit about the ethics of shamanic healing. That's kind of what I'm gonna talk a little bit about. But speaking on breakfast, I once did a video on my Instagram account, my Swedish one, about spiritual hygiene. So I'm gonna do an episode on that on here as well at some point in English. I'm gonna do it. I'm not gonna talk about breakfast, but just spiritual hygiene and maintenance. Yeah. So today I actually do have some notes because what I usually would do is have my notes in my phone, but my phone has died. I'm waiting for a new one. So the topic of today is trauma, PTSD, and the ethics of shamanic healing treatments. So, as everyone else, because if you just face it, like there's generation upon generation. Look at my hair today. I'm just gonna have to indulge you in this one. I don't know what to do with it. Anyway, so generation upon generation of people are suffering right now from generational traumas and childhood traumas and other types of traumas, and I have had my fair share of those. And I won't get to, as I've said in previous videos, I won't get to like too personal or too private, but I will definitely share some facts so that you know where I'm coming from. And so, as a trans person, I am not a stranger to childhood traumas, just suppressing myself creates trauma in itself. And then there's like layers and layers outside of that, and things and people that have contributed to that and made it worse in some cases. So like, and there's of course some generational traumas in my family, some personality traits and behavior patterns that I have been working with on my end to break the cycles. And on top of this, 11 years ago now, I had a major traumatic event in my life. And this is no secret. A lot of people know about this, and I have. It was a way for me. It was also the time when I went deeper into the shamanic practice. So what happened in short was that I was subjected to. Okay, so trigger warning. Trigger warning. I'm gonna put like trigger warning. Hopefully I can make like a thumbnail with trigger warning or something for this video. So trigger warning childhood trauma, trigger warning abuse and sexual traumas. So 11 years ago and a couple of weeks, I was on a boat. I don't know why it's significant that I was on a boat. Maybe it is. And I was traveling with some friends, and we had a blast. And I was separated from my friends in the evening, and I was going to my cabin, and I didn't make it to my cabin. I was forced into another person's cabin, and I was abused by up to 8 people all night long. And then yeah, we can stop at that. It was a major trauma. It was major. You don't need details. So after that, I got some therapy, regular therapy. I got diagnosed with PTSD, and I got some really good therapy. I got EMDR, eye movement desensitization rehabilitation, or something like that. EMDR therapy in combination with art therapy. So we would do these. EMDR, as I experienced it, is a form of hypnosis. So I would get these sessions, and then when the therapist woke me up from them, I would draw images from the memories. And this was to clarify and like step outside of it in a way, and to analyze it from the outside and get perspective and distance. It really helped me. So I did this therapy for about 8 months, and then we ended the therapy with some kind of therapy where you are exposure therapy to something major triggering. And for me, that was getting on a boat. Yeah. So I was my therapist took me to we actually managed to get on not the same boat, but a boat from the same company. They were very forthcoming, very cooperative. So when it docked and the cleaning crew was gonna clean the boat for an hour, we got on it and did some therapy on the boat, and then we got off before the passengers were allowed on again. It was really helpful. I haven't been on many boats after that, not big boats, but I have been like a few times. And I will be in the future because I have family across the Baltic Sea. So I have to go on it again. This was on the Baltic Sea. So yeah, but after that, she could only help it so much, because after that, my body still had memories that my mind didn't remember, and she couldn't really work with what she acknowledged as out of body experiences. She wasn't really qualified for what the I think the the psychology community would call dissociation, which we in shamanic practices call out of body experiences or detachment. So I needed to go forward from that. So I was done with her, with that therapy, and I moved forward from that, and I found shamanism. Well, I had already been into shamanism before, but now I was like, because I have been living with runes and working with runes for years and years, but there's always a point or several points in a practitioner's life where we need help. We can't do everything on our own. So I needed help, and I found a shaman that that helped me, that was what's the word, an expert maybe on sexual traumas, because I was trying to find something that could help me with my body's memories and with what happened to my body in that specific context. So I found a great shaman. I can link her website below if anyone want to check her out. She mainly works in Sweden, though. She only works in Sweden. I think her webpage is in Swedish, but she's Latin American. So, or is it? Yeah, she's from Honduras anyway. So I went to her, and it really, really, really helped me. In 3 sessions, she helped me. she helped me connect body and mind in the purpose of lifting these bodily memories up to the mind, so that we could clear them together with the soul in ceremony. And it really worked. It worked amazing. And I know there are so many people out there that suffers from traumas in different ways and need help. And the first thing I want to talk about after revealing all of this is that it's so important to work together with conventional medicine, or like and that sort of thing, because everything has a time and a place. And when you are like right, for me at least, right after my big traumatic event, I was held by my partner in an amazing way, and I found help in conventional medicine that took me through the first steps of healing. And then when I was more composed and had some objective and distance from the event, that's when I could when I was really receptive to shamanic healing. So I never suffered from like psychosis or anything major. I had some minor dissociation because of my trauma and also from my childhood, because there have been times in my life when I have gone inside of myself, or like removed myself consciously from what's happening, and that's dissociation, So when I had like more perspective on all of that, I was really receptive to shamanic healing. So whether shamanic healing or conventional medicine comes first for you, remember that oftentimes both is necessary. And as a shamanic practitioner, I never ever diagnose anyone. I am not here to say, oh, you have this disorder, or oh, this is what's wrong with you, because that's not the training I have been through. My training has been through with the intention of doing this kind of work that the shaman did on me, like connecting body, mind, and spirit, soul, and working on the different levels of that, and with different types of healing, a lot of inner child work. So depending on what you need, that's the expertise you need to seek. And if what you need is in the moment is a diagnosis and maybe some maybe even some medicine, some pharmaceuticals too, which is like some taboo within the spiritual community to be accepting to that. But if that's what you need, that's what you should do. I during my process and my healing work in the traditional, not the conventional medicine, I that's the word I use. I took, the only medicine I took was sleeping pills, and that was before major events in therapy, so that I would be rested. So like before we were gonna, I think once, to try the medicine out also before we were gonna dive deep into one of my worst memories. And then the night before, we went on the boat for exposure therapy. And then when I got on a boat the first time afterwards to visit my family, that I have on an island in the Baltic Sea. So the night before I was going to travel there, I took some sleeping medicine, sleeping pills, and then before going back as well. And that was just to be rested so that I could be fully immersed in the experience and let it and help so that it could continue to heal me. And that's the only medicine I've been and that I have taken. But I know there are a lot of people that need other types of medication for shorter or longer periods of time, and that's okay. That's okay. That's perfectly fine. That's what you need right now or right then, and that's fine. And then when you are in a better place, when you are more receptive, you can use shamanic healing. And I think that's like the order it should go, because and you need to be stable in some sense to be receptive to shamanic healing. And I never use any substances except for cacao and maybe some medicinal herbs like chamomile and lavender, and yeah, maybe some other, but nothing that is like hallucinogenic or anything like that, because I want the person that I'm helping to be fully present in a way. And I don't want, especially if someone has gone through something that makes them tend to be receptive to, or like be vulnerable to dissociation or psychosis. I don't want them to just fly away, you know. So yeah, and I say no to clients that have two, where if I meet a client and my what's the word, my experience or my perception is that this person is too vulnerable for me to take responsibility and accountability for the person's mental health. If I feel like this person needs some help with calming the mind, or maybe chemical imbalance that I can't help with, or something for the physical body that I can't really help with in the moment, then I recommend that first. And I say, I want you to do this, or I want you to get a good diagnosis so that we know what we're working with, because that's not my niche. And when you have received a diagnosis, or when you have got help with this specific aspect of your mental health, you can come back to me. And sometimes that can only be like, maybe it can be the solutions to things can be simple, but not for me to decide on, because there's some ethics within this, and that's what I'm talking about today. So my ethical principle is to not help people that are too far gone, so to speak, or is in a place where they're not receptive to the healing. And it can also be that they want healing, they need healing, but they're not ready for it, and they need to do some additional steps before getting ready for it. And it's my responsibility to have a consultation and make a decision. Is this person receptive to what I have to offer, or should I recommend something else? And then I want to go on, and I have written down here to not leave someone in the middle of a response. So when I am giving healing, it's really important to not leave the person in the middle of a response. Okay, so I make sure I have time to stay with the person for a bit afterwards, so that I can see that the person is perfectly fine and perfectly okay to be left alone. Um, and if it's a major thing, I make sure that the person, maybe there's someone coming home to them afterwards or something like that. And when I do IRL sessions, I prefer to be with the person in their home, just because I want to leave them in a safe space. That's one of the reasons. So, because I don't want them to be like, I'm fine. And I'm like, I'm on the fence about that, but sure, go home. And then they might not be fine. And halfway home, they just break down. And because there can be some aftermath after healing, after healing session, there can be like symptoms. You can depending on what we've been working with, you can cry or be angry or have physical repercussions, like needing to go to the bathroom, or maybe some headache, or something like that. Or it can just be the matter of, oh, this person needs to rest, and I want to leave them in a place where they can rest and not have to be awake and mindful of where they're going. And when it comes, I do a lot of healing on this, like remote healing, on Zoom and Skype. So when I do that, I know that the person is in a safe space where they are. And and yeah, that's a part of what I like with it. And I there's no, if the machine people are with us, if the machine people, the computer, the cameras, the mics, and everything are with us, and the connection, then I love working remotely. But I apply the same principle there. I don't want to leave someone unless they are completely fine to be left alone. And I think it's unethical and frankly a bit disrespectful to leave someone in the middle of, or off right after a major response to healing. So like, if a healer is like, oh, time's up, I have to go, and the person says, I then the healer should be like, okay, it's fine, I'll stay a bit longer because I want to know that you're fine. And it's, of course, maybe sometimes we have like, we do have sessions after each other, but like for instance, I have a session with decoupling, the jaguar medicine, that takes about 20 to 45 minutes depending on the client, because the healing itself takes about 10 to 20 minutes, and then the rest is before and after. And I always schedule an hour for it out of my time, so that I know that the person is fine. And that's light, the light healing, it's a matter of taking down jaguar from the tree, which means to calm the mind and make the mind and body in a resting space, to connect mind, heart, and stomach area. Like, well, I don't have to go into that. I can talk more about jaguar healing in another episode. Anyway, it's a form of healing that usually doesn't bring forth a major response. That's my point. And I schedule an hour for something that might only take 20-30 minutes, Okay, so Yeah, I think that's what I was going to talk about, because what I've written down is to talk a little bit about my trauma, um, and the PTSD. And I would like to conclude with the fact that today I have minor PTSD symptoms. My jaguar are my jaguar, which is like the symbol of my response to things, is a bit more. I'm still working with jaguar inside of me to react appropriately to things, because when you have PTSD, it's like this, and the response can be like that. So working with jaguar to take him down from the tree and to keep him there, and at the same time be aware enough to respond appropriately. That's some of the work I still do, but I am so much, I want to say I'm much more calm, and I also can do things now that I couldn't a few years ago. So I I I wouldn't qualify for the PTSD diagnosis anymore. I don't have enough symptoms. I have like one left, and that's amazing. So yeah, I have talked about my traumas in broad terms. I've touched on PTSD and dissociation. I have talked about ethics within shamanic healing treatment, to not believe someone in the middle of a response or directly after, to not diagnose, that's not our job, and to work together with healthcare, because that's also a way to do it. If there are it's not easy to find medical people like doctors and psychologists willing to work together with shamanic practices or alternative medicine, but there are some out there. So, and just to be aware and communicate with the person about their medicine, what they're taking, and how they're feeling, and that sort of thing is so important. And I feel like the most important thing for a client, if you come to me or to someone else and you need treatment and you are on medications, you have diagnosis or whatever, that's not, don't be afraid to tell the person, the practitioner, because being truthful and being honest about what you are going through is major. It's major for us to be able to help you in the right way. So I would much, if I have a client that comes to me, I have these 3 diagnoses and I'm taking these 4 medications for it. Can you help me? Then I would probably say, yeah, sure, because you're being honest, and have you have sought out treatment, you have sought out diagnosis, and being open to healing and to being helped, and then I know what to work with so that we can adjust the shamanic healing to suit you, to fit your needs, and within the realms of what's possible. Because some medications, people, some pharmaceuticals completely numb your your mind to the point where you're not receptive anymore to spiritual healing, because you're just so shut off. And if that is the case, I need to know that. So because I will tell, I can tell. It's in the energy, so I can tell when that's happening. And it's better you tell me before, so that we can talk about it, we can work with it, and start in ways that can help you, even though this is happening. And maybe when you are in a place later where you can cut down on that medication, we can do more shamanic healing treatments, and so that it can like meet in the middle. But if you come to me and I don't know anything, and I'm giving you healing, and I can sense that, okay, you are completely shut off because of pharmaceuticals, then that can be like money in the drains, or it can be that I cleanse you and cleanse you of that so that you get like withdrawal symptoms or whatever afterwards. And yeah, I need to know. Your shamanic and spiritual practitioner needs to know everything. You need to be honest, because if you're honest, we can help you. Yeah. So if you have any questions, put them in the comments. As of right now, I have no phone. I'm not on Instagram this week. And not next week either, because that's my week off every month. So if you have questions, I will put my email address in the description. I will put I will put my email address in the description, and you can ask me if you have some private thoughts. And if you have some general thoughts on what I have been saying, you can put them in the comments, and I will get back to you, because I do check YouTube every day. So, and of course, I have been in the chat this entire time. So, yeah, I wish you a lovely weekend, because it's Thursday when you're watching this. So I wish you a lovely weekend. I wish you good mental health, and I wish you a lot of well on your healing path forward, whether it's with me or someone else. Find what's right for you. Yeah. And I will see you in the next video. Walk in beauty, and as I always end my videos, Xingling.